what's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome to my channel, my new channel, my first channel. I'm gonna just try and give this whole YouTube thing a good swing and just, see how it goes. See if people like the stories that I tell, or, whatever, just put my best foot forward and see what happens. So, this is the story. This is a story time, like, as you can tell by the title. So, this story starts out while I'm in high school. And my friend Trisha, she was a pretty cool girl, you know what I mean? Like, we weren't romantically involved or nothing like that, but, she was cool. I hung out with her, and she was part of my group, I guess you can call it, because I had a group of maybe like 4 to 5 really close friends that I hung out with consistently, right? So she was one of them, and she was like, hey, you want to come to my house later, and we'll get drunk or whatever. It's Friday and all that stuff, And Friday, for me and my group, was always, we were not going to our own houses that day unless it was with one of our friends or all the friends, you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I'll come through. Let's go, like, for sure. So after school, we get on the bus, we go to her house, and, she's the type of girl where, she knows what's up. She knows what kind of alcohol tastes good. She knows what's pretty much just what's good, what's bad, and all that stuff, So I'm trusting her to not get no rat poison, if you know what I mean, some nasty alcohol. And I'm pretty confident that she's not. So we pull up. Well, we don't pull up anywhere. We don't got a car, but we walk up to her house at the time. And then we go into her fridge first thing so we can just, start drinking or whatever. And then tell me why she pulls out the most dirty, nasty, cockroach Four Locos I've ever seen. Like, I thought, in my head, I was thinking there's no way she's gonna just, like, pull out some nasty stuff, you know what I mean? Like, she's either got some bourbon whiskey or, something like that. And then she pulls out the Four Locos. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, are you kidding me? That's a roach's drink. But, with all the complaining, I drank it, and, we're chilling, having a good time, and, all is well, right? And I'm pretty drunk, because if you drink at all, if you've ever had a Four Loko or anything, you know what those do to you. They do not play games. Those Four Locos, when they come, when you snap that the can open, you literally, it doesn't say tss, tss. It doesn't do that. It says tss, I don't play no games. And I swear I heard that when I snapped my can. I ain't playing no games. So, I'm drunk as a skunk, and it's really late at that point. It's because, she had a lot of them, so we've just been drinking, and it's around 12 o'clock at night at that point when I get a call from one of my other friends. And this dude looks like the llama from Emperor's New Groove. Exactly like that. Face and all. Long face, long neck, little skinny body, everything. So we're going to call him Roach. So Roach calls me. And he says, hey, you want to come over? Because him and my other friend, Will, are there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll be on my way or whatever. And not even thinking about the fact that I'm totally drunk, like, to where, like, I'm drooping in my seat. I'm sitting down, and I'm looking like a melted ice cream. So I'm telling him, yeah, I'll go over, all this and that, right? So I tell my friend, Trisha, I tell her, yeah, I'm probably going to walk to my friend's house. Do you want to come or whatever? And she was like, no, I'm probably going to go to sleep or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. You go to sleep. You do you. Good night. You feel me? So then I give her a little fist bump, give her a hug. See you later. Take care. Don't let the bed bugs bite type stuff, So then I leave. And when I walk out the door, it's like I was dropped into the world of Grand Theft Auto. Like, it feels like, have you ever been playing Grand Theft Auto online, and then you don't have a car, you don't have anything, and there's like a full lobby, and you're just walking down the sidewalk, knowing that there's like all these bad people around, because mind you, we're in a pretty bad area. I mean, she doesn't live in the best area, at the time. I don't know where she lives now, but at the time she didn't live in the best area. So I didn't even think about that when I was getting the call. And my other friends couldn't pick me up because, they didn't have no cars either. So I'm out of luck there. And, I make my way over there best I can. And I don't remember much from that night. I remember being on the right side of the road on the sidewalk, looking around a couple times. But as far as the trek to his house, I don't remember much. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't remember much. And, yeah, so I remember getting there, though. I do remember arriving at his house. And my friend Roach, he lives, he lived with his grandma. And, but the thing is that it was very weird because they had a main house, but he didn't stay with his, family in the main house. Like, he stayed in this, like, little, like, I guess you can say, like, a shack or, like, a garage house or something like that in the back of, in the backyard, And, yeah, so, I mean, I walk back there and I knock on the door, and then they answer, right? And everything's good. Nothing's going wrong. Everything's cool. We're playing some Skate 3. If you know what Skate 3 is, your boys have to jump on the Skate 3. And then time passes by and I'm singing a song. Apparently, like, I don't remember that, but they were saying that I was singing a drunk song where I was just, waving back and forth, singing about how drunk I am and stuff. So that happened, and I think that's hilarious. I wish I could have seen that. But what's it called? So after all that happens, my friend Roach, with his big llama head, turns to me and he's like, "Oh man, you gotta get out of here, man." And I'm like, "What you mean I gotta get out of here? You invited me over. What are you talking about? It's like 1 a.m. And he's like, "Nah, you don't understand. You don't understand." I'm like, "Well, make me understand and tell me what you're talking about." And he's like, "I didn't tell my dad you were coming and he's home. He's home." And I'm like, "Well, then just tell him that I'm here. What's the big deal? I'm already here." I also told him, "Why didn't you tell him? Like, if you know I'm coming, and this was like a while earlier that you told me to come over, then why didn't you just give him a call and say, hey, he's coming over, my friend, this and that." But he didn't do anything. He didn't do none of that, right? So then he's like, "Just come with me." And then I'm like, okay. So I follow him, right? And mind you, this is in the middle of December, and it's 20 degrees outside, right? Like, it's cold. And I don't do cold. I don't do it like that. 20 degrees? No. So he takes me outside, and he has this little Honda. I think it's a Honda Civic. It's like a really old one. It's broken as hell. It's not very pretty, and it's ugly, and it doesn't work. So the car doesn't turn on. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there. So he tells me to get in, and I'm like, "What you mean get in?" And he's like, "Just get in here and stay here." I'm like, "For how long?" And he's like, "The night." And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean the night?" And he's like, "Well, just stay here for the night." And I'm like, "Well, what about a blanket or something?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'll get you a blanket." And in my head, I'm thinking, does this guy care about me at all? Or does he just want to kill me? Because how are you going to put somebody into a car like that in the middle of December, 20 degrees outside, no blanket, drunk as a skunk? So he does that, right? He goes and gets me a blanket, and he tells me all is well, right? So his dad comes, he passes right by the car, and I'm there trying to just duck. I'm not trying to be seen by him or nothing, because, I mean, I'm drunk, so in my head, all the situations are amplified by 30, you know what I mean? Like, I do not want to be seen by him, because I feel like if he sees me, it's the Dark Lord of Sauron's eye looking at me, you know what I mean? So he passes by me, and he goes into that little shack or whatever that my friend lives in, and I guess his dad sleeps there too, but they have 2 separate beds, right? So that's his room too. So in my head, I'm thinking I'm never going to be able to go back in there because they both live in that same room. So, and I was right. I had to stay in that car the whole night. The whole night. They came out for me to hang out with me like maybe two times, I think, where we just chilled, you know what I mean? We got a little stoned and stuff like that, right? And I think it was around, and my body, it got adjusted after about, I'd say 3 hours, I was adjusted to suffering. I was adjusted to my body just feeling like it wasn't there. The only thing that felt like was in existence anymore was my head. From the neck down, didn't exist. I was just a floating head from my perspective. So around, I'd say 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, I hear a knock on the window, on the door, the driver's side door, right? And I look over, and of course it's my roach friend Llama. My llama friend Roach. And he tells me, hey man, I got some onion rings for you. And I'm like, oh, bet you got some onion rings? Because I love onion rings. I never used to like onions because, as a kid I just didn't like onions. But onion rings smack. So I was like, all right, bet you got some onion rings? Hand them over. You feel me? Hand them over. So then he gives me them onion rings. And they're from a really good restaurant too. I know where they're from because I love that restaurant. And he hands me the box, and I look in there, and them some scraps. Just some scraps. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with these little giblets? What the heck? And he's like, oh, well, you want me to warm them up for you? I'm like, you got a fryer so you can refry them? Because they soggy. They're old. They got mold. And he's like, oh, man, like, I can't really do all that, but, I can go put them in the microwave. So I'm like, all right, cool. Go put them in the microwave. And then he goes, he does his thing, right? He goes, he puts them in the microwave. He comes back. When he comes back, he gives me them, right? And I start eating, this and that. I'm tasting them. Why do they taste so bad, though? Like, you would think that, like, after being through all that, food would taste good. But no, it just tasted bad. I threw those out the car. I said, get those away from me. So his cat starts coming over here and eating those onion rings or whatever. I don't want them. And at that point, he was telling me, you can get out of the car now. You can get out of the car now. But my body was so adjusted to just being in that position and being so cold. I said, nah, man, I'm good. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm staying right here. The one place where I didn't want to be the whole night, my body was telling me, you're good here now. So I stayed there. And, that was... That was one of the craziest times of my life. My toes were freezing cold, and they felt like they were gonna fall off. Legitimately, they felt like they were gonna pop off. So I didn't get out of that car until the next day around maybe like 10, 11 when it got more hot. Because then it started to get a little more warm in the car, you know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be in here no more. But yeah, so that was the time I got pretty drunk. I got hammered, and then I walked drunk on a really bad side of town to my other friend's house, and they threw me in a car for some reason because he can't just tell his dad that he's got a homeboy over. And yeah, so yeah, man, if you like that story, then hit like and subscribe, comment, let me know what you like, let me know if things that I can do better, because I know this isn't perfect. So constructive criticism is always appreciated, you know what I mean? If you have any, requests or anything like that, then just let me know, and we'll see how this thing goes. So, yeah, thanks.